Hi, Christ Church. Joey Santos here, your online pastor. Thanks so much for coming and joining us tonight for living room session. I'm very excited because we all have a story. So tonight we're going to dig into the story of Paige and Jeremy, two of our worship leaders here at Christ Church. They're going to share their story, they're going to share some songs, and I know at some point tonight you're going to connect with them, you're going to connect with their story, and the song's going to really minister to your heart. So let's just experience living room session together.
When night has fallen, when fear is coming, still you're calling me. When faith is lost and my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. In every season, you keep repeating promises to me. Whoa, now there's no stopping what you have started until it is complete. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out, breaking out. Hey, your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul.
We met in 2011 working at Kings Island as performers there in a show called American Country. Fun fact that I always like to tell people, Paige and I didn't like each other very much when we first met. I thought she was very spoiled.
And I thought he was very...
What's the word?
Wild?
Wild.
What is the
Good
word?
word for it.
Reckless.
Reckless.
A little reckless.
Reckless is the word. And we did that for years, right? And then there was time where you went off to school to finish school. I stayed here. And we were both... Are we getting real? We're getting real?
Yeah.
We both were engaged to other people. Some things definitely went south in those relationships.
And definitely some things that were like on our parts, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't...
Oh, I did so many things wrong.
Yeah.
When you look back, you think it's a matter of maturity, like you're actually going through that. You didn't know that back then. God's
Correct.
shaping you, like you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
going through that
Yeah.
development.
For sure.
Yeah. Came back to Cincinnati, to Kings Island after the really bad breakup. And wanted to be closer to family, wanted to be in something familiar, be home, you know? And in that, Jeremy and I started having conversations, and he was basically just able to tell me that, just speak truthfully, that, you know, talking about what he saw from his family, what he believed and knew in his heart, what he mentioned a little bit about, you know, like God's purpose and, you know, design for life. And at that point in my life, I was nowhere in any spiritual anything. I don't doubt for a moment that it was a part of God's plan and design.
What is your background growing up?
Spiritually,
Yes.
my dad was a preacher for a Church of Christ in Loveland. He was also a cop. No.
How does that work?
How did that work?
You're under arrest, and by the way, God loves you.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, meet them where they are, right? Acapella hymnals, no instruments, no anything. And that's where I grew up. That was my family. And that was 20-something years of my life. But then, I guess, the normal PK story, right? I got older and things started coming into my world that were not all around God and not all around, you know, I became part of this earth, and I started chasing things and getting involved in things that I had no business getting involved in. And so, not that I ever quit believing what I had grown up in God and what he was, you know, that he loved me and was part of my life, but I wasn't looking for him. I wasn't doing life in a relationship with God. So that's probably why Paige thought I was reckless when she met me, because I was very reckless.
Kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you guys went from Kings Island to singing a cruise ship. Is that
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. How did that happen? 'Cause I
How
wanna
did
do
that happen? So the way that happened was a weird turn of events, actually. Paige was finishing college at Wright State, getting her bachelor's degree for musical theater. I was working at Sprint, selling cell phones, waiting for her to graduate, because then our plan was we were going to move to New York City. But then, while she was finishing, it actually turns out that Carnival Cruise Line had auditions in Mason, Ohio. And it's crazy. Auditions for cruise ships are scary. There was like 100-something people in the room. And as singers, what was the scariest part is they said, cool, so you say you can sing, so we're going to make you dance first. And you would dance and dance and dance, and then they would make cuts. They'd be like, thank you, get out the door. And it would just cut and cut, and somehow we just kept making it through round after round, and then they finally let you sing. And then we sang, cut, sing some more, cut, and I think there was, maybe 8 of us left at the end of the day. And they said, cool, you're on the books, we'll let you know if a ship ever comes up for you, and that's it. So you've just spent this entire day singing and dancing, getting through all these cuts, and then they say, we'll call you.
We'll
And you're
see.
like, all right. So we moved to New York, we followed our plan, we lived in Manhattan, we lived in Washington Heights, we went to audition after audition every day, we're working temp jobs, I worked in the World Trade Center, like for a casino company, like we were doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then one day we were at our temp jobs in customer service, and Paige got a phone call from Carnival saying, we're offering you a contract, you interested? And she messaged me, and we were like, let's go meet for lunch to talk about it. And then at lunch we decided, I don't want to go back to our temp jobs. So we just bailed on our temp jobs, and we just left. And so then we packed up our New York apartment and started working on cruise ships.
my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you've never failed, and you won't start now. So I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. Oh. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine.
You know, I struggled with a lot on the ship. I struggled with isolation. I struggled with disordered eating. I struggled with, you know, not being able to open up to anybody, or constantly having like panic about what people were thinking of me, and image issues, and a lot of hard things. And when my aunt passed away in 2018, which was just like completely unexpected, it made me actually look deeper and to stop looking at all the different circumstances and to ask myself, like, what do I believe in? And I didn't know, and it scared me. And it scared me that, you know, I still believed in God, but like, what did that mean? And basically I spent that entire year doing anything I could, reading the Bible, reading different books, asking Jeremy a million questions that he was going through his own personal thing at the time. So like it was a challenging season, but I was so hungry for it and so full of just hope and just wanting something to fill that void that I clearly had been trying to just fill any way I could, perfecting any area of my life I could. And it was at the end of that contract that I, you know, decided that I was like, I need a church home, you know, there's more to this, that like I can't do this all just by myself.
You get to the point where it's a constant, and this is just the life of a performer, I think, and you have to learn to deal with it your own way, no matter if it's cruise ships, no matter if it's Broadway, no matter if it's theme parks, no matter what it is. Like, being a performer is a constant state of comparison. You are constantly comparing yourself to the other performers, to what the audience thinks of you. Am I good enough? Will I get the next best thing? Am I doing this? Am I going to be able to sing this song well enough? Why is this person better than me? Blah, blah, blah. And like, it's a nightmare sometimes. You just get to this point where none of these things really matter. Like, you're just using a gift that has been given to you, and you're blessed to get to share it with people, but you just go down this rabbit hole of comparison and jealousy and all these terrible things, and that's unfortunately what happened to me. And I've always been so sure of myself in my entire life. I've known who I was, I've made choices, I've stuck with them, but I got to the point where when all this was happening, where she was like searching for God, I was digging into a hole because I didn't know who I was for the first time in my life. And I wasn't looking to God, I was looking to her. I was just lost and paralyzed in the garbage.
Are you hurting and broken within? Overwhelmed by the weight of your sin? Jesus is calling. Have you come to the end of yourself? Do you thirst for a drink from the well? Jesus is calling. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Leave behind your regrets and mistakes. Come today, there's no reason to wait. Jesus is calling. Bring your sorrows and trade them for joy. From the ashes a new life is born. Jesus is calling. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Oh, come to the altar. Sing hallelujah, Christ is risen. Bow down before him, for he is Lord of all. Sing hallelujah, Christ is risen. Oh, come to the altar, the Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Oh, come to the altar, the Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The Father's arms are open wide.
So coming home, within 12 hours of being in this new house that we bought, our entire upstairs flooded because of an issue with the laundry room, and our entire ceiling caved in downstairs, and we had no possessions. We had no towels, we had no anything, so we sopped up the water with our clothes from our suitcases.
And my Aunt Jan and Uncle Carl Dobkins helped us a lot because they live right down the road. So they were bringing over fans and towels and buckets
letting
and
us do laundry,
all kinds of things.
letting us borrow their car. 'Cause
Yeah.
we didn't have a vehicle. We didn't have a car.
Yeah, they were just amazing and were really there for us in a very hard time.
Very.
And
Did you have a church home?
no. And that was one of my big things in coming home. Was I was like, I want to find a church home. Like that's what's next. You know, I've found this personal discovery, but that's what I need to do. And
Speaking of our plan, our plan was the church hop.
yeah. So we were like, we'll try all, like, you know, we're on vacation, so we'll try all the different churches in Cincinnati, really get a feel for like where we fit in, where we think would be like our people, and then we'll decide. Well, again,
Also, Paige wanted to do this. I didn't really want to do this.
yeah, Jeremy wasn't really invested.
I was still in my
this.
like, I'm just gonna sit in a hole
So
state of life.
so then with my Aunt Jane and Uncle Carl helping us, they invited us to their church, which was Christ Church, Mason.
Which, let's be
And-
fair, wasn't even on the list of church
No.
hopping.
No. And I woke Jeremy up that Sunday and I was like, hey, like we're going, you know? And he's like, wait, we're really doing that? Like, and I was like, yeah, like we want to do this anyway. And my Aunt Jane and Uncle Carl are helping us. So let's go to their church. Well, super long story short, we get there week 1. Absolutely loved it. The next week I was like, we're going to the foundations.
From the
Was it-
moment that the first service started with Kristen and Emily Joyner was singing,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
just like, it just hit us.
Yeah.
Like we were like, what do they have? Because like I want some of it.
Yeah.
I was in a terrible place. Like I was the one who didn't even want to go to church when she was like, let's go to church. And so I felt a little bit like an imposter. But guess what? Then we sang on Christmas Eve. And all of a sudden I felt something that I don't know if I've ever felt. And it was this, I don't even know what it was, but it was like all of a sudden it felt like I felt a piece of me again start to kind of be uncovered. And I was like, I don't want to go sit in a hole. I want to follow this and see where this goes. And so it wasn't just magically on Christmas Eve I sang and then everything was good again. But it was the spark that I was like, I need to know what this is. I need to follow this. And the more we sang, the more we got connected with people, I started to become not only myself again, but a new myself, a new version of me. And I completely credit that to singing at the church.
Yeah. It was like a freeing experience because, you know, I got to sing a song that was a very powerful song and you know, it's called Hunger, and that's where I was. I was so hungry to be finally like filled. And it's so strange because in my mind, it's hard to turn off like performer, right? So in my mind, I'm like, I'm singing this like big song, and I practiced it so much, and I was like, I have to get it right, and you know, it needs to be perfect. But when I got on the stage, I guess it was a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday that year. Or maybe Christmas was, whatever. When I got up there and got into the song, I like left my own body to the point where I fell down onto my knees during this song, which would never be like I will plan to fall. Like, that doesn't fit the perfect rigid performance. That was something moving through me. And that's like, as I sit here in this moment now, it's like I can see myself and feel myself in that moment, and then I can see what I saw in Emily that first time that I went. And it's like I knew that whatever that was moving was the same thing.
Are you excited about going back to work after that experience in church? I mean, that was an unexpected church experience for a season, right? Are you excited going back now to work?
Absolutely not. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Because within 4 short months of doing this and becoming involved, I felt like I was becoming me again, or on the road to finding my true authentic self. And we had made the decision, and I was counting down the days to go back to the place that broke me.
Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Realized He has ransomed me, His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died. Am I place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
One thing that we definitely didn't know was that we were going to have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with my younger sister, who she also has been performing with Carnival for the last 4 years, and she's been home on a vacation, and that means we've gotten to spend a lot of time together.
Hi.
When you watch their lives, what does it mean to you?
I look up to them as like role models. Like they're like my second mom and dad, like in a weird way, but they're not. They're my sister and brother-in-law. But watching them like grow and stuff, because me and Jeremy were actually friends before they were even friends. So it's funny now that like my friend is my brother-in-law, and it makes me happy that he's the one that is with her. But yeah, I'm just super appreciative of them, and I look up to them.
The hard part is kind of where Jeremy voiced, you know, that in 2018 I was in this place of hunger and seeking that fill up, and he was in a place of kind of feeling lost and kind of feeling an unsure sense of like identity and direction and all of the things. I think it's hard because since coming home, in a way, it's kind of flipped. And I think the hard part for me is that you, especially once you experience something like that, when you experience the Holy Spirit moving through you and you experience what it means to really be filled up by the only thing that can fill that void, and then you get to a place where you don't quite feel, you think you're doing something wrong. You think, does this mean that I'm not, believing right? Does this mean that even when things all around you are feeling so disorienting, so confusing, so sad some days, hard some days, confusing some days, and you feel lost, that the seedling that like, I know what I had and have because he's not leaving. No matter how much I'm struggling right now, he won't leave. I chased achievements, I chased image, I chased success, I chased all of the things. And the only thing that ever satisfied was fully embracing and seeking God and Jesus to fill me. And it's one of the scariest things in the world to feel like that's what you so desperately are wanting, but that you're struggling to do it. And I think it's even harder to admit that. And I think that, again, because once you get there, you should just be there, right? Like you should just, that's what seems right. And I'm realizing that like, no, maybe that's not the case. And maybe that's part of the journey. And maybe that's part of what it means to draw closer to him. How can you draw even closer to him when everything is just good? And I think that I'm on a journey of relying fully on God fully. So right now, where I'm at in my own brain and in trying to figure out deeply who I am and where I fit, it's a daily choice to know the one thing that I do know about myself, is that I believe in God. I believe in that transformative power of Jesus because I've lived it. And it's dispelling this idea that once you get there, you're just there and you just float. It's a constant choice. Some days or times, minute to minute choice. I think when it comes to leading worship, that's the whole point, is inviting people into a space that can help them do that. Because when we worship the one who made us, when we worship the one who fills that place, what surer place to be than that? And even if I don't know a whole lot of other things around me, and even though I doubt a lot of the places and things and what I want to be doing with my life, I choose to not doubt that. And I choose that if I focus on that and choose that minute to minute, that I know that he's got me. That there is an element of, there is that deep trust, even though it feels terrifying. So in struggling with some of the things that I'm struggling with, I confided in one of my best friends, Haley James, and it was nice to talk to somebody who could hear my heart and who could connect to my heart. And it's like she just got my story. And what I said was something along the lines of, I felt like I had this huge spiritual awakening last year. And I know that I did. I don't feel like I did. I know I did. And that it's weird because right now I feel like I'm in the process of another awakening. And what I told her is I was like, I just feel though, Haley, like where I'm at, like this is literally like my final cry as an awakening. And she started just sharing with me some lyrics that were on her heart. And from that conversation and from that declaration that this is my final cry and that I felt like I was in this new awakening, from that conversation, this song was born. And I use it as my prayer. I use it as my declaration. I use it as my statement of this is where I'm at in my journey. And I'm gonna use it as a declaration. It's the only word I can use.
All colors fade to black and white. I can't see you around me. The wind, it brushes by my side, and then your love reminds me you're there. Reveal yourself to me. Reveal that you are there. I come to you on fallen knees. Are you even there? And this is my final cry. This is my awakening, that when I lose my life, there I'm found. Use the good notes and the sad notes. Write your song over my life. In the broken, in the chaos, Father, use my life. So here I stand within your hands, enduring the refining. No resentments of the life I left, I leave it all behind me. I see you everywhere, even in my doubting. I trust you through this pain. God knows that I am fighting. And this is my final cry. This is my awakening, that when I lose my life, there I'm found. Use the good notes and the sad notes. Write your song over my life. In the broken, in the chaos, Father, use my life. And I can't sleep, I feel numb. Father, come. Father, come. I am sick. Where's the sun? Father, come. Father, come. And darkness shouts, crucify. But in my death, there is life. Strip my words and my dreams. Lead me through the suffering. This is my final cry. This is my awakening, that when I lose my life, there I'm found. Use the good notes and the sad notes. Write your song over my life. In the broken, in the chaos, Father, use my life. And this is my final cry. This is my awakening, that when I lose my life, there I'm found. Use the good notes and the sad notes. Write your song over my life. In the broken, in the chaos, Father, use my life.
Don't believe all those lies, darling, just believe your eyes and look, look. My heart is an open book.
He shall return in robes of white. The blazing sun shall pierce the night, and I will rise among the saints, my gaze transfixed on Jesus' face.